There he is, guys. 9.5 inches, 15.6 ounces, almost a pound. That's what a hybrid bluegill can do for you in a pretty short time period, actually. Hey guys, welcome back to the B&B Farms channel, where we're trying to live with our land and not just on it. Today it is way too hot to run the sawmill, it's too hot to run the wood splitter, it's too hot to be in the woods working on maple syrup stuff. So we're down at the pond, we're going to do a little fishing, and I got a confession to make. It's probably too hot to do some fishing, but we're going to try it anyway. So stick with me, we're going to wet a line, and we're going to talk about some hybrid bluegills. Here we go. I've been trying to decide what the best way to do this is because frankly, this camera's not going to last long in this kind of heat, but well, we'll do what we can. Oh, that didn't take long. He's got some shoulders on him. Oh yeah. Pretty good fish. Oh, come on up here. Come on up here. Oh. That's what we're talking about. Check that out, guys. Can you see that? That is a big hybrid bluegill. Very nice fish. We'll throw him back. Pretty simple setup today, using crickets for bait, hanging them below a slip float. Doesn't get much easier than that. You know, I want to talk a little bit about hybrid bluegills while we're fishing. If you look online, you'll find a wide variety of opinions about this fish. Some folks telling you that it's the scourge of your pond, it'll ruin your pond. Some telling you it's a great pond fish. And there's another one. And per a lot of things, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. These fish, oh, this is a little different species here. We don't just have hybrids in here. We have a mix of other panfish. And this, if I can get a hold of him, this is a cross between a red ear and a bluegill. You guys see that? Pretty cool little fish. Matter of fact, we're going to keep him. We might take him in for supper. Man, those hybrid bluegills fight hard. Look at the bend in that rod tip. Can you guys see that? I hope you can. Man, check that out. That guy's got some shoulders. He means business. Yeah, he does. He's a big one. All right, come here, guy. Come here. You ain't gonna let me do it, are you? There, I got him. How about that? When's the last time that you could lip a bluegill? Check that guy out. He's ever been 9 inches long. He is a chunk. Back he goes. I tend to think of ponds in the same way I do kitchen knives. You know, there are steak knives, butter knives, fillet knives, paring knives, and they're all knives, but they're all better suited or best suited to a particular purpose. I mean, you can take a butter knife and fillet a bluegill with it, and you can take a fillet knife and spread peanut butter on a slice of bread, but you're not going to be happy with the results. It's the same thing with ponds. I mean, you can have a pond made to go swimming in. You can have a pond that's, you know, you're going to grow bluegills in, or you're going to raise largemouth bass in. You know, a pond performs best when its function is pared down to very few things. Unfortunately, for most people, most situations, ponds are like the Swiss Army knife. You know, that Swiss Army knife, it's still a knife too, like we talked about, and it does a little bit of everything, but it doesn't do anything as good as a single purpose knife, right? You know, those little fingernail clippers, little tweezers, yeah, they'll work, but if you have your choice, you're gonna go get the real thing, aren't you? Same thing with ponds. By necessity, most ponds have to fulfill several functions. So there are compromises that have to be made. Keep that in mind. We are fortunate here in that this particular pond we're fishing in, we can devote exclusively to bluegills. So, you know, that makes our management goals much simpler. When we can focus on just one or two things, our job gets a lot easier. It's not as much skill at that point as it is the fact that you're not spread so thin. And that's the advantage we have here, is we are concentrating on hybrid bluegills in this pond. There are other panfish in there, I don't mean to imply that, but we don't have to worry about growing largemouth bass or having walleye in it or crappie. You know, this is its sole purpose. So that makes things a lot easier for us. Oh, there's a problem. We are fishing way too shallow. Let's slide our stop back up there. There we go. That ought to make a difference. Made a difference, didn't it? You know, a lot of people throw out there, they cast out and they want to fish a foot below their float. You know, that you can do that. That'll catch fish at certain times of the year. But here in the heat of the summer, the dog days of summer, those fish are down a little deeper. That's why we're using a slip float to let that line, man, goodness, this is a big fish. To let that line, you know, pull down through there and get us a little more depth. Oh my. Oh, look at that. Looky there, guys. Look at that. I bet that fish weighs, well, I bet it weighs a pound. Let's find out. All right, can you guys see that? See what that scale says right there? 15.6 ounces. That's a good bluegill right there. There he is, guys. 9.5 inches, 15.6 ounces, almost a pound. That's what a hybrid bluegill can do for you in a pretty short time period, actually. Back he goes. Oh, another good fish. I don't believe he's, oh well, it's hard to say. I don't believe he's quite as big, but he thinks he is. No, he's smaller. He's smaller. Another one for the table. Yep, there he goes. Yep. Oh. These fish are so powerful, guys. It's just unreal. There's another one. Another good fish. Nice hybrid bluegill. Nice bluegill anywhere. Put him in there. I don't think we found any of the big ones yet. I'm hoping we can hook up with one of those here directly. Let you guys see what a really big one looks like. I have caught 2-pound hybrids out of this pond. There we go. Something's not right. Our line's tangled. There it goes. Line was tangled up, wasn't running down through the float. There, it's heading to the bottom. A little smaller one here. Yep. One for the frying pan. I apologize for the camera angle. Trying to keep it out of the sun. Not doing a very good job at that, so it's probably going to overheat and shut off any moment. I know you guys probably can't see all the action, but I'm just trying to do the best I can. It is hot out here. Hot, hot. There's a bass, grab the float on top water. There's the one we're after. Yep. About got dinner caught. See what's over there. Oh, there's another good one. Another good one, guys. Oh. If you didn't know any better, you wouldn't think that was a bluegill. Bluegills just don't fight like that. But hybrid bluegills do. Yep, another good fish. Real good fish. If he don't get off before I get a hand on him. He's trying. There we go, I got him. Oh. Well, that one got away. Talk about the rig we're using here. It's just a slip float. It's got a what they call a bobber stop right here, this knot that prevents that line from sliding any further. So when the line pulls down through, boom, that sets your depth. You know, you can't fish any deeper than that, and this knot slides. So I can move that anywhere I want on the line and change the depth. This bead is just on there to reduce the diameter so that this knot won't pull down through the center of that float right there. Here's a little tip for you. Put another bobber stop underneath the bobber. What that allows you to do is capture the bobber. If you don't want a slip bobber, you can just take these two bobber stops, slide them to where they capture the bobber in between. Now you have a fixed depth bobber. That's the way I fish it all the time. It works real well for me. So are hybrid bluegills right for your pond and your situation? Well, remember what we talked about. Remember the knife situation, specific knives for specific task. And that's what you have to ask yourself. What do you want your pond to be? Do you want to swim in it? Then I wouldn't stock hybrid bluegills. They bite. Are you looking for a good bass pond? You want to try to grow some trophy or some large bass? Hybrid bluegills are not a good fit. They are mostly male. They can reproduce. They are not sterile. Common misconception. They are not sterile, but because they have such a severe male bias, they don't produce very many offspring, which makes not enough food to feed those largemouth bass you're trying to grow to trophy status. Not a good fit, hybrid bluegill in a trophy bass pond. Are you looking for a pond that just offers a lot of action? A pond where kids won't get bored? A pond where you can go catch supper whenever you want it? If you saw me fishing down here, hybrid bluegills might be the fish for you. How do you control them? How do you keep them from becoming the dreaded green sunfish takeover that you hear so much about on the internet? Well, I've been growing these fish for 10 years. I have yet to see an abundance of green sunfish. I have yet to see any green sunfish. Despite the fact that it is physically impossible for a hybrid bluegill to turn into a green sunfish, that's rooted in a little bit of truth. Each succeeding generation of hybrid bluegill displays less of the desirable characteristics and more of the non-desirable characteristics. So your goal as the pond manager then is to make sure that you don't want any reproduction. Now, controlling reproduction is going to be next to impossible. Mother Nature finds a way. So your job is to control recruitment instead of reproduction. Recruitment is just how many of the young of the year fish survive and grow into bluegills. That you can control. And you do that by keeping a large percentage of largemouth bass or other predators in the pond with your hybrid bluegills. You want every baby hybrid bluegill to be eaten. That's it. You know, my particular strategy is to stock 10 hybrid bluegills. I put 1 largemouth bass. That is a very heavy largemouth bass ratio. Your largemouth bass, they're not going to grow worth a darn because there's not enough in there for them to eat, but they will put the pressure on your hybrid bluegill young of the year, and they will make sure that they don't get out of control. You use that as a management tool. Largemouth bass, they are your management tool, not the goal. All right, are we clear on that? That's tough to get your head around, I know. Most people, think of that Swiss Army knife again. Most people want their pond to be more than one thing. They want to have bluegill. They want to have largemouth bass. They want to have crappie or channel catfish. They want to swim in it. When you go putting all that demand on one body of water, you make your job much harder. So that's a decision that, you're going to have to make for yourselves. One more thing before we go. In addition to stocking largemouth bass or a predator to keep their numbers in check, I recommend you keep on top of vegetation or weed growth. Any place that you have a spot or a hiding spot for those young bluegills, those young hybrid bluegills to get up in to avoid predation, that's going to be bad. Remember, we don't want these fish to reproduce. We want all of the young of the year fish, or very nearly all, to be eaten by our predators. So don't leave them any hiding spots. Keep your vegetation under control. Keep the weeds down in your pond so the largemouth bass can find those young of the year fish and do their job. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to head to the house. I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm ready for a glass of sweet tea. I'm going to go take care of that right now. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Guys, I say that every time because it's true. We can't do this without you. Help us out, please. You've done a great job taking care of this channel. We appreciate it very much. Keep up the good work. Remember to be nice to one another. Man, we could use a lot more of that these days. The world's a crazy place. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. Be nice, guys. Get outside once in a while. It's beautiful out here. Get outside and enjoy what's around us. You'll be a better person for it. I know you will. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to head to the house and get that sweet tea. Guys, I'll see you on the next video.